to go.
Cool!
Hey everyone, it's 𝗃𝗃𝗀𝗃, and this is going to be a pretty quick video, just giving my scripted thoughts on the recent Kirby Air Riders Direct, as while I did record a live reaction for the show itself, I wasn't exactly a fan of how my reaction came out. Plus I missed some extra details, so I wanted to wait until after the Direct to gather all my thoughts together. Now then, there's basically two big questions when it comes to Kirby Air Riders after that Direct, being the questions of, did Sakurai cook in giving us a satisfying sequel to the original Kirby Air Ride? And did he finally beat the modern Kirby hater allegations? And well, here's how I feel. In terms of the gameplay, it's definitely Kirby Air Ride, because you can tell that Sakurai is still passionate about the way he designed the original game, since he changed so little about how it functions, keeping the same one-button game design philosophy and whatnot. Now, he did add one additional button to the gameplay for the new special move mechanic, and I'm extremely glad he did that at least, and I think it's cool we even have special moves in any form at all. But man, Sakurai, would it have really killed you to add a little more button controls to the gameplay? We live in a time where one of the highest selling and popular games in the world is Mario Kart, and everyone knows how to play it. I don't think a Kirby racer needs to have a more simplistic control scheme, but I just gotta accept that I will never understand some things about Sakurai. And I still really enjoy the original Kirby Air Ride game a lot anyway, so I'm willing to agree to disagree on this one. But the big thing we're all interested in talking about is if Sakurai beat those allegations. And ultimately, I will say that Sakurai is not as petty as many people painted him, because we do indeed have non-Sakurai era Kirby characters with inclusions like Magolor, Gooey, and even Susie. And I cannot stress enough how great and important it was that this game did this, because it truly makes Kirby Air Riders feel like it's a part of the wider Kirby series and not some hermit crab of a game that's too scared to reference anything that isn't in a handful of games. There were straight up people who didn't even know these characters existed in some direct reactions, so it's just so nice that more of the extended Kirby cast is finally going to get another chance to shine. And I love that not only do we have those Dream Friend characters here, but they have special moves that fit them, and even love in other small ways, like their alternate costumes, as seeing things like Parallel Susie and Magolor's epilogue look getting alts is cool. However, I will say that I wasn't entirely convinced during the direct start at all, because okay, he introduced the riders with the main Return to Dreamland quartet, which was perfect, since it was so nice to see him treating Bandana D on par with Kirby, Meta Knight, and King Dedede, and it gives me a nugget of hope that maybe our boy can finally get into a Smash Bros. Game someday. Yet then the next character reveal is Chef Kawasaki, which I don't hate Chef Kawasaki. He's cool, he's funny, and it makes a lot of sense for him to be here, especially given his popularity in Japan. But why is he the 5th character reveal after the main 4, before Sakurai stops talking about riders for a good few minutes and only finally introduces the others a bit later into the show? Now, it could be that he wanted to build up hype for the other riders, but if the riders are the main point of the game's title, shouldn't you just go ahead and hyper-focus on that from the jump? I don't know, it just felt weird to me. And then there's the fact that even with those more broad scope additions, ultimately, a lot of this roster is still basic characters from the older Kirby games, to the point where there are some picks here that are a little questionable. So alright, Knuckle Joe, I get. He's one of the most popular helper characters in a Kirby staple, zero beef with that pick. Waddle Doo, another big staple, and a bit of a funny meme lately in the community, so I get it. But Cappy? Starman? The high jump enemy? Why though? Like, they're far from horrible picks, I would say, but I do think it's a little weird we get them before, say, 𝗿𝗏𝗀𝗃, Adeline, 𝗕𝗲𝗃, the Mage Sisters, and especially 𝗿𝗂𝗀, as while they're not necessarily the most super important characters, they're big fan favorites who feel a bit weird to be missing. Like, if this were the final roster, it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world per se, since it mostly covers the core Kirby characters, who are both some of Kirby's closest allies, and good representation for different parts of the franchise. But there's room for improvement for sure. As I think it would be a straight crime if Kirby in the Forgotten Land doesn't get 𝗿𝗂𝗀 or some other character for a rep, because it's Kirby's first 3D game. It deserves something here. And Adeline definitely deserves a spot, because she's for sure a close companion to Kirby who would be invited to this type of event. Now, some people say Sakurai seems to be against the Kirby series having humans at all or something, which I partially see as understandable, since Kirby characters should be cute and quirky creatures for most of them. But I'm sorry, you can't erase Adeline from history, Sakurai. She's been in a lot of games at this point, and is beloved by so many Kirby fans. Plus, she adds yet another cool female rep to the game, so I really do not see how it isn't anything but a win. Yet if Sakurai is gonna Sakurai, screw it, man. Give us Ribbon or the Ripple Star Queen, and I'll settle for that. Again, ideally we would also get some more of those other Dream Friends, and heck, maybe even other random characters from various classic and modern games, like one of the Beast Patent bosses, or even Marks. Like, where the heck is Marks? I honestly figured he would be a lock once we saw Magolor. And why'd they have to do my boy Kind like that and deconfirm him as a stage object? I would have loved to have the animal friends from Kirby's Dream Land 2 and 3 as playable. I even think Dark Meta Knight could have actually worked as his own character slot. A rare time you'll see me actually advocating for a clone character. And his ults could have been his Star Allies colors, which also applies to some of the other characters too. Again, some weird choices and omissions with this roster in my eyes, but let's wait to see if anyone else is revealed before release, or if the final game has some unlockable surprises. Heck, we could even get DLC, but that's a whole other can of worms. Especially given that this game is $70 already, and it would be a steep ask for DLC if this game doesn't have a whole bunch more content. So yeah, I know it sounds like I'm being a bit annoying with my critiques against this roster, but it's just hard not to heavily criticize it when Mario Kart World and Sonic Racing Cross Worlds have all of their core casts featured, plus some other more interesting deep cut picks. Now, that's not to say this roster's weirdness isn't charming in its own way, as all the memes around Starman have honestly warmed me up to him. And it's not like Mario and Sonic have super perfect rosters themselves, but still. And unfortunately, even though Sakurai gets a pass for beating the allegations in terms of characters, the rest of the game doesn't really seem to reference things from the wider franchise, as the courses seem all new, and the copy abilities are all the old ones, plus Jet, Fighter, and Steel Ball. Like, what the heck is a Steel Ball? Why not just call it Metal? You know, the existing coffee ability that already turns Kirby into a metal ball? Again, just little things like that bug me a lot personally, but that's just me, don't read too much into it. Speaking of the race courses and coffee abilities, that's a good transition into those, I suppose. And with the courses, I have not much to say other than that they look really great in visuals, and their music slaps. Crazy how we got music for a game not even out yet on the Nintendo Music app before we got the Mario Kart World OST. Nintendo logic, man. And the fact that all of the game's characters can use coffee abilities just like that is insane. It breaks so much logic about the Kirby series, but I guess this is a quirky racing game, so Sakurai can do what he wants, I suppose. My headcanon explanation is that after the battle with 𝗿𝗏𝗀𝗃, all of Kirby's friends just got a little bit of his power too. Though, that doesn't explain how the heck Cappy or Starman can use coffee abilities, given they weren't there. But whatever, I suppose. However, the last thing I want to talk about is City Trial. as even Sakurai himself pointed out that City Trial was basically the main event of the game, which really goes to show how in tune Sakurai can be with the fans of his games. And what especially makes this return of City Trial so great is that they didn't just bring it back exactly as it was, because City Trial now has online multiplayer as an option and can go up to 16 players. Absolutely nothing but a perfect decision. I'm so glad Sakurai understood what we wanted there. Though sadly, the one thing that bums me out about Air Riders City Trial is how we still only have one City Trial map, which is this new location called 𝗂𝗂𝗲 that's basically a floating island with different subsections. And while I'm glad we're getting a new area at all, having multiple options definitely would have been ideal, because I'm not sure how I feel about this new location yet. I mean, it's a floating island. That could potentially feel more limiting than a ground level city, and I imagine a lot of the deaths are just gonna be from people falling off the dang island, even if that also sounds pretty funny. So I hope we see some hidden unlockable maps for City Trial, or get a few through free updates, or even paid DLC if necessary. Like, imagine if they brought back the original City Trial map, but in HD. That would be very cool. But yeah, that is all I have to say for my thoughts on Kirby Air Riders. I think the game needs to have a decent amount of content in the final game, given that it's $70, and so far, I think there's definitely still things that could be added. No, everyone is not here. The courses could be a more interesting blend of old and new, and again, I need another City Trial map or two. But it's on the right track to being a worthy sequel to the original Kirby Air Ride game, and I'm also glad that it's acknowledging the wider Kirby franchise at all. So yes, I am confident enough to say that Sakurai is cooking here, and he is still a Nintendo GOAT. The only other thing to talk about would probably be, what the heck did he tease at the end of the Direct? Like, is that dark matter? Shadow DDD? I have no clue what's going on there, but it for sure has crazy potential to be raw. Some people say it could be a hint at some big story mode, but I'm not going to put chips on that one. My guess is that this will be a substitute for the King DDD boss fight in the original Air Ride game, and won't go much deeper than that. But I'm 100% open to being proven wrong. Yet with that, I am done for today. If you've made it to this point of the video, thank you for watching all the way until the end. So how do you folks feel about Kirby Air Riders after its Direct? Does it live up to the hype? Are there still things you think could be added? Is there something you really want changed? Let me know in the comments below. And please be sure to leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you are new to it, and follow my additional social media in the description for more content and updates. This has been 𝗃𝗂𝗀𝗃𝗀, and I'm out. Peace.